Welcome back to Conversation with Buddy. I'm your host, Buddy Puckett. Hey, grateful to be here this Friday morning. We do these most Friday mornings, and a new podcast comes out every Friday morning. And now I think we're in our fourth year. So hopefully you're enjoying this. Hopefully you're getting to know somebody in our community a little bit deeper than maybe you knew them before. This morning will be no different. We'll meet a guy, a friend of mine. I've known him for probably a decade or so, maybe more. Who knows? I'm excited to introduce him. Before I do, though, I just want to read a verse to you real quick. I was thinking this morning, life sure seems hard sometimes, doesn't it? I mean, I don't know if you are like me, where you feel like sometimes you're the only one with problems. But in John 16:33, it says, "These things I have spoken to you, so that in me," this is Jesus, by the way, "you may have peace. In the world you will have tribulation, but take courage. I've overcome the world." So notice the word, "in this world you will have tribulation." So if you're feeling tribulation, well, Jesus already told us we would. So we should expect it. So anyway, we're going to talk about that today. I'm going to introduce my guest. His name is Raul Valdivia. Welcome, Raul.
Thanks, buddy.
Well, thanks for being here, man.
Sure thing. My pleasure.
And by the way, how long have we known each other, would you say?
I would say about that.
About 10 years or so?
About 10 years on and off, but more lately.
Yeah. How did we first meet? Do you remember?
I think it was either at an event because of Valor mentoring.
Okay.
But then, as you know, we see each other at the gym quite often.
We do. Yeah. If we're behaving and going to the gym.
There you go. Keep each other accountable.
I'm pretty sure you go more than I do.
Well, we've been going more in the last week. Yeah.
Okay, good. Mm-hmm. You trying to work out that Thanksgiving, all those calories you had?
No, we just haven't gone in like 2 or 3 months.
Okay.
So we're just trying to get back into the routine.
Get back into it. Mm-hmm. Well, it's a Friday. You and I talked about that. You know, what's a typical Friday look like for you?
Well, these days, since we're working from home 3 days a week, we, the staff isn't around. I'm at home, so it's more casual. It's a little more casual in that, I don't have to start right at 8 or 8:30.
Right.
I know my wife keeps my calendar pretty tight, so if there's something that I don't need to do till 10 o'clock, I probably won't start till 10 o'clock.
Right.
And then during the day, things come up that you can tell yourself, I think I'm done for the day, and call it a day early afternoon. So it's pretty casual these days.
Yeah.
Tax season, I can't say that.
Yeah. You're like 6-7 days a week, probably.
Most likely. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not as casual. We just get swamped.
Okay. So you talked a little bit about your Friday, what that might look like, but you mentioned if you don't have an appointment till 10 o'clock, you might not show up at work till 10 o'clock. What's a morning routine look like for you?
Well, usually I'm up and running about 5:30 in the morning.
Okay.
Every day, no matter what's on the schedule. And so if I have that extra time, I will usually try to make more time with my quiet time, my time alone with God.
Yeah.
And then there's a little more time there afterwards. I usually my wife and I will talk for half an hour before I get ready to leave work, but that will get stretched out as well.
Okay.
And so there's more time for that.
You guys like that, I bet.
Yeah. It's a routine that we have.
Yeah. Now, have you always had that routine as far as with her?
As far as I can remember, yes.
Okay.
We've had it for quite a while.
Every morning?
Every morning, I'll come up with coffee, and there's a half hour in there. I'll sit. There's a little chair I sit in, and we'll talk. We'll either talk about what I read in the paper, what God's saying, and sometimes it'll spill into work.
Okay. Mm-hmm. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I got to get better at that. I mean, I think I do okay, but I think I can do a lot better. So that's a challenge for me to step up my game.
Right. Yeah. One thing which we haven't been as diligent in is reading a verse together and praying together. And we were doing that quite often. And then that kind of went to the wayside a little bit. So it's one thing that we try to keep ourselves accountable. And personally, that I want to, continue doing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. We're going to dive deep into that. You're being married for how many years?
Over 40 years.
Over 40 years. So
yes.
We're going to get to that. That's going to be the meat of what we talk about. Sure. I'm a big proponent of marriage. I talk about it probably on every podcast, and I always say, it's probably God's design to keep us humble, right?
Right.
Would you say that's true?
Oh yeah, big time, because it's not just you.
Yeah.
You got a partner, and it's more than just a partner. You guys are entwined in each other's lives.
Yeah. And you and I are the leaders.
Right.
Right?
Exactly.
It's not that our wives can't lead as well, but I think God designed the man in the house to be the man of the house, to lead. And leadership isn't, it isn't a dictatorship. Leadership is really done in love.
Right. Yeah, God expects us to lead, but what I have found is that my wife expects me to lead. And she sees those things and wants to see those things. That what brings her security and comfort. And so it's hard sometimes because, you have a lot of stuff in your background, how you grew up, how you were taught or not taught, how to be a man, basically, how to be a husband. And those things, at least in my life, didn't kick in till maybe in the recent past. So you learn from your mistakes, but overall, you find out you're the leader. You're not only leading your wife, but your kids, your family, and then even if you own a business or you're a manager of some sort, you're leading in some capacity.
How would your wife, I'm probably jumping ahead a little bit, but this is good. We're kind of going there. How does your wife say, hey, Raul, you got to step up your game a little bit? What would she say? How would she communicate that to you? Because I think our wives do that differently. My wife's very quiet in how she does it, but it gets the point across.
It does. My wife likes to ask the questions. She'll ask me a question. My issue is that if I don't know how to say I don't know.
Ooh.
She really likes to know who I am, where I stand, the confidence that I have in whatever she asks. If I don't know, let me think about it.
That's what you have to say.
Yeah, that's an appropriate answer.
It is.
I didn't grow up like that. Let me think about it. Or I don't know right now, but I do that a lot at work. A client asks me something. Yeah. I will say, I'm not sure about that, but let me do the research. Yeah. I got to approach that the same way with my relationship with my wife, is that if I don't know, it's okay to not know, or you have the answer, it's just not popping in your head at that moment. Right.
Would you say that's a sign of humility? Because I think guys, I can't speak for women, I'm a guy, but we have this pride, we want to know all things, and we feel like we have to give the answer. If we can't give an answer, then that's weakness. But I think, is there a sign of humility in that when you say, you know what, I don't know, let me get back to you?
Yeah, and that's even a hard place to get to, because I've experienced when you don't know, that's the end of the conversation and nothing else gets said. And so in that silence, there's a lot of things that are being said. And I'm learning that. So continuing the conversation and being able to say, I don't have the answer right now, or at least that's what you're expressing. I don't have the answer right now, but I will get the answer, or I forgot the answer. And, but I do have something to say about that. That's the big issue. Yeah. And we don't always know what to say and how to say it at that moment and at that time. But coming to that place and realizing that there is humility in that. There is, and that takes other things that happen in your life to get you there.
Right. It sounds like there's a little bit of wisdom in there too. It's actually wise to, be quick to listen and slow to speak. James talks about that. And so I think in your responses, it's actually wisdom, because maybe God needs to reveal to you the answer that he wants you to deliver, not just like, hey, this is what Raul thinks. And so, well, this is really good. So we're gonna dive into that, but let's go back to the very beginning, Raul. I want to know, where'd you grow up? Tell me about your mom and dad, your siblings. What was that early life like for you growing up?
Sure. Excuse me. Yeah, I'm from a small town called Hollister, California. Okay. It's nestled in Central California. So to give perspective, it's about 45 miles south of San Jose, California, and about an hour and a half from San Francisco, south. Yeah. So Santa Cruz, the beaches, Monterey we're pretty.
That sounds really familiar. Okay, I know exactly.
About 40 miles. Day trip, easy, and so that's where I grew up. I was born and raised there. My mother was born there. My father was born in Raleigh, California. He was in that Southern California near Los Angeles. So that's where he was born. But my grandmother, his parents all migrated up to Hollister, and that's where my parents met. And so, again, born and raised in Hollister and going to school there. And basically, I had never left the town, never really done anything. Wow. And so I'm the oldest of three.
Okay.
And I had two sisters. The oldest sister, she passed away in 2002. And then my youngest sister is living in California.
Okay.
And she's 10 years younger than I am.
Gotcha. How'd your sister pass away?
I forgot the name of the disease. Wagner's disease. That's right. It has something to do with the sinuses, but it really just deteriorated her, and she passed away of that.
That must have been really hard to handle.
Yeah, it was hard. When my parents were alive at that time in 2002.
Yeah.
And they all came up. We were living here. She was living here when she passed. So my wife and I were the ones with her. My wife did a lot of the heavy lifting during that time. I was at a new job. We hadn't lived here very long from California. And so it was hard. And then my parents came up. It was really hard on my mom.
Yeah. Were your mom and dad, you said they both passed away?
Yes.
How long were they married?
They were married for, boy, that's a big question. And I don't know if we could, let's just say they were married for since 1960.
Okay, so really they were married. They remained married until their death.
Right.
Until death do us part.
Yeah, they
honored the
they stayed
marriage
together
house.
the whole time.
Yeah, that's amazing. So we know it's probably 50-ish years or more.
Correct.
Okay. What did your mom and dad model for you as a firstborn son and in your marriage today? What's the thing that they modeled for you that you remember?
As far as marriage is concerned, not a lot, buddy. Not a lot. There were times when, looking back, that I'm surprised that my parents did stay together. It was hard. They did not put that. It wasn't a good example. My mom basically was the head of the family.
Okay.
My dad worked as a farm laborer all his life.
Yeah.
He did a lot of drinking, squandering the check when I was little. Remembering those stories. My mom really worked hard to keep us on the right track. She worked night jobs. It was a local cannery, so she did that at night. I stayed a lot with my grandmother in a neighboring town. San Juan Bautista is a neighboring town near Hollister. It's a mission, one of those mission towns.
Yeah.
And so I stayed a lot with her while my mom was working. And so, and growing up and looking back, and you mentioned my marriage now.
Yeah.
I go, there was no example. I didn't see them.
Wow.
Working that out. And even then, when they were together, there was a lot of turmoil.
I mean, your dad came from an older generation, where they leave early in the morning, they work all day, they come home late at night. The mom has dinner on the table. From that, I don't know what the generation that is, industrial generation kind of. You said your dad drank a lot. Was he a believer at all?
Not till the end.
Not till the end.
Yeah. He before he died, he was probably a believer for a good portion of his life, probably maybe 20, 25 years.
Okay.
But he died a strong believer. That's one thing I take, close to my heart is that he knew Jesus.
He did.
Yeah. I sat with him, saw him, talked with him, and I just heard God from him. So I was convinced that he was following Jesus.
Were you, mom and dad were married. It was not a good marriage. Your dad was drinking, squandering the money. Was there some resentment that you had toward your dad or mom at that time growing up?
Not really. That's just it. It was like tunnel vision.
Okay.
I didn't know what was going on. All I knew was what was in front of me, what was coming next, as far as friends, school, that type of thing, just trying to survive.
Yeah.
And so it would be exposed when they fought. There were times we were together and they didn't fight. It wasn't constant.
Yeah.
But you knew looking back, it wasn't right. But as a kid, wasn't thinking about that. So that was kind of setting the foundation of how, what I thought a marriage would be or should be when I first, was growing up.
Yeah. Growing up, were you close to your sisters?
Yes. At a point where we spent a lot of time together. Like I said, we spent time with my grandmother. So my older sister, Irene, who passed away, she was with me during a lot of those times. Mm-hmm. My grandmother was pretty funny. She loved her shows, you know, General Hospital, that type of thing.
Oh, yeah.
She kicked us out of the house. It was a little ranch where she lived. So there was a lot to do outside. We kind of didn't mind it, but looking back at it, we were banned from the house until dinner time.
Go get it.
Exactly.
Okay.
You know?
Why? You know, that's what we did as kids, though. We did leave the house. We did go ride our bikes and build forts and do what kids do. Okay, so you're how much older were you than Irene? What was age?
3 years apart.
3 years apart, and then your youngest was 10 years.
Yeah, 10 years apart from me.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
And then, what's your younger sister's name?
Diana.
Where does she live now?
In Hollister, California. She's still there.
She still lives there.
Yeah, she's married with 2 kids of her own, and it's a blended family. Yeah. Her husband had other kids from a previous marriage.
And then, are you guys close now, or?
Not as close as we could be because of the distance.
Yeah.
You know, our parent, my sister Diana took the passing of our parents much harder than I did.
Sure.
You know, I had the comfort of them knowing where they're at because she's not a believer.
Diana's not a believer.
Correct.
Okay.
And so she took it real. She's a Catholic and she has that belief, but basically it's a really, really hard thing to see somebody pass. And that's natural.
Sure.
But my perspective was that they were ready. They were both ready.
Yeah.
Spiritually.
Did your dad die before your mom?
No, it was my mother.
Your mother died first.
Yeah, in 2022.
Oh, in 2022. So just really freshly ago.
Yeah, just a year ago, my dad.
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm. So you've had to, that is hard.
Yeah.
Did obviously you guys came together as a family and, you know, went through the funeral services and.
Right. You know, I've been living here in Oregon since 98.
Okay.
So I was pretty separated.
Okay.
You know, from what was going on, because they all stayed there.
Yeah.
Clicked there. All the, you know, my dad's, like I mentioned, my grandmother and my grandfather moved into Hollister. Mm-hmm. There's like 8 kids. So there's aunts and uncles. They all had cousins who had kids.
Yeah.
A lot of them are still there. And so, but I left.
I'm like you, man. I left home. I'm from Central Oregon. And then, my dad, mom, and my mom and dad were born and raised in Prineville. And my sister still lives there. And I'm out. You know, I go visit, but, you know, I'm out.
Right.
So
yeah, and we would go when we first came up here. We'd go for Christmas or visit every now and then. That became very infrequent.
Yeah.
And but my mom always kept in touch. I always talked to my mom. She loved me very much, and so we would call and talk on occasion.
Yeah.
And not my dad so much, but
yeah. Did you guys grow up in church? Were you going to a Catholic church growing up, or
no? We were twice a year Catholics.
Twice a year Catholic.
Yeah, twice a year.
Christmas
Catholic.
and Easter.
Yeah, that's what if we even went.
Easter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My mom would make us get dressed up, and she'd drag us to either the midnight mass for Christmas, Eve, or the Sunday morning Easter.
Okay, so you mentioned your sister, you know, Catholic, or growing up Catholic, you know, they're not necessarily Christian. What do you mean by that? What do you think is the main difference between a Catholic and a Christian from your perspective, who you understand both probably pretty well?
Right. So, you know, going to the services that I did go to growing up, it appeared that it was okay to do certain things and that you were still going to go to heaven. You know, I remember an incident where a dog came into the mass service, a puppy or something was running crazy. And so one of the altar boys had to come down from the top and scoop him up. You know, I heard him cussing at the dog. And I was young then, and that memory just sticks to me. But I go, I guess it must be okay. And then like Ash Wednesday, we did that. And I'd see guys from my schoolmates, you know, with a little cross on their forehead of ash. And I knew those guys were bad characters.
Wow.
And I go, I guess this is okay. I guess you do this and that. You come to the service, that you're going to go to heaven. And so that was my thinking about the Catholic Church.
Okay.
Is that you can go to the little box, you know, I did, and do the confession.
Yeah.
I did
that.
I did the Holy Communion, I forgot the name of the other one when you're about 15. It's almost like a bar mitzvah type thing.
Catechism or something?
It was catechism, but there's another ceremony you went through when you were about 15.
All right. Interesting.
Confirmation, it's called.
Confirmation.
That's right. So I went through all that. And my thinking was, we do those things and we get to do what we want out here. As long as we come back here and get in the confessional and, attend a service every now and then, we'll be okay. But through all that, I knew there was a God.
Yeah.
I believed that God was in heaven.
Yeah.
Through all that. And so as I got saved, my biggest revelation when I walked into the little church in Hollister, small Assembly of God church, is that there was nothing in the building but an empty cross.
Yeah.
I mean, the Catholic Church, there were statues everywhere, the stained glass windows, everything. It's a familiar story.
Yeah.
And then these people were raising their hands and everyone was singing and didn't have a book, that they were reading out of. And so that was very, very strange. But the process that got me there, I knew I was supposed to be there.
How old were you?
I was 19.
Okay.
It's a long time ago.
And, yeah. And what you got you to that church? I mean, who took you there? Who asked you to go?
Yeah, well, at that time I was going to community college in Gilroy, California. If you know Gilroy, that's the garlic capital of the world.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's their garlic.
Garlic. Got it.
And so there's the community college. Gavilan College was there between Hollister and another neighboring town, Morgan Hill. So you would meet people from the schools from Morgan Hill.
Yeah.
Well, I met a gal there, and I was actually pursuing her.
Yeah.
And she would not go out with me. She would not go out, but she still was my friend.
Yeah.
And but she made it known that she was a believer, and she would talk to me every now and then. And then one day I asked her, because she would tell me about her youth groups and the group she was in. And I said, "Do you pray for me?" And she said, "Yeah." I go, "How does that work?" She goes, "Oh, at the end of our service, they asked if anybody needs prayer. I raise my hand and say, I know my friend Raul, and we need to pray for him to get saved." And okay. And that was the end of that conversation. And then one day she gave me a New Testament. She said, "Just read the first 4 books, the Gospels." So I did. And at the end of reading all those, the 4 Gospels, 2 things I noticed. One, it was almost all the same stories.
Yep.
And at the end of John, I stopped and I said, if this is true, I'm going to hell. I'm done for. Because my routine was I believed there was a God.
Yep.
I would say the Our Father every night. And I believe he was there, but there was no relationship. But after reading that, I said, I'm going to hell. I need to get back into church. So I went back to my friend, the gal.
Yeah.
Her name is Rosemary. Told her what happened. And I told her, I need to get back to church, so I'm going to go back to my Catholic church. And she said, no. Remember, there was a neighboring towns. She knew people in my town. And she goes, can I ask 2 of my friends, they're guys, can they take you to church?
Yeah.
Yeah, tell them to come on over. So one Saturday, these 2 young guys pop up at my house, and I knew them. One I graduated with and knew him very well, Frank Gabriel, and then Steve Lujan was a grade below us. We played ball together. I mean, we lived in the same neighborhood.
Yeah.
I knew them very well. And I looked at them and said, "Hey, what are you guys doing here?" I said, "Rosemary sent us." I go, "You guys go to church?" They go, "Yeah, you want to go?" And so I went in the morning, didn't get saved, but Frank said, "Hey, you want to come back tonight?" And that night, the youth pastor called out my name and said, "Raul, you need to come out here. Come up here." And 2 of us went up there, a gal and myself, and we did the Lord's Prayer, and I got saved. That was in 1982.
1982. You remember the day?
Yeah, May 14th.
Man, thank God for a Rosemary who had the guts to say, "Hey,
yeah,
I'm praying for you." I like the verse, the prayer of a righteous man or woman avails much, as in James also. But I think that's the gift that God's given us. I can't save people. I can lead people, share them the good news, and I can pray for them, but really it's the Holy Spirit that opens their eyes. And so sounds like the Holy Spirit opened your eyes that night.
Yeah, I look at that scenario, that thing, what I just described to you is so vivid in my memory that I can see God working in that whole process. He was there were times before I even met her or read the Bible that I probably should have been dead. But that didn't happen. So I see God's hand in all that.
Yeah.
And then when it was time, the Holy Spirit just invaded my mind and my heart.
Yeah.
and said, you need to go back. He was calling me.
So had you, like, when you were going to the Catholic Church, were you reading your Bible then?
Oh, no.
See, that was interesting. You weren't reading it, and all of a sudden, Rosemary says, hey, I challenge you to read the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And you go, man, if this is true, then I'm going to hell. The thought of going back to the Catholic Church, looking back, that's a little scary. What if she wouldn't have said nothing, right? But she did.
You're right.
She had the guts.
Yeah, I would have gone back and to the Catholic Church, and I most likely would have found somebody and started asking questions. And I believe the Holy Spirit would have started revealing to me, this isn't where you need to be.
Yeah, I do believe that for sure.
And so I would have gone back to Rosemary.
Yeah.
And said, hey.
But based on her faith and her conviction, the guts that she had to go, hey, don't go back, Raul. You need to be in a Bible-believing church.
Yeah,
that takes guts.
Yeah, she had guts on a couple of levels.
Yeah.
On the one you just mentioned, buddy, she wasn't ashamed of her faith, and she knew I was pursuing her. The other level that I want to speak to about that is that she still hung around and was my friend. She didn't shun me and say, leave me alone. I don't want to go out with you. She still was my friend. And that gave her, I think, the next level of guts to just give me that Bible.
Yeah. The Bible verse of the day, I try to read the Bible verse of the day. That kind of gets me in the Word. Well, I pray, go through like the verse of the day, read a chapter, and then my wife and I are going through Revelation and Daniel right now. But the verse of the day today was 1 John 4:19. It says, we love because he first loved us. And I think she was demonstrating God's love. She still loved you. She wasn't judging you. She was just loving you. And that's what drew you in. Would you agree on that? Is that?
Oh, big time, because there was something there. And at that time, I didn't understand it because, I was after that different kind of love.
Yeah.
But she was demonstrating God's love. And she knew it. And so she hung in there, looking at that. And so, and she knew she had a plan, I believe. If Raul comes around, she already had these two guys lined up. She knew them because they interacted through church, And so I believe that. I never got to talk to her again. After I got saved and we left the college, I never saw her again.
God used her instrumentally in your life to save Raul. That's pretty amazing. And the fact that you knew the two guys, that's kind of funny. That's divine. God knows what he's doing.
He does.
He knows what he's doing.
Oh, that's a fact. That's a fact, buddy.
Hey, walk me through kind of like those high school years before you're 19, got saved. Did you do sports or music in high school? What was that like?
Oh, baseball.
Baseball was your sport.
Baseball was a thing since I was 8 years old.
Okay.
My mom tried to get me into Cub Scouts.
Yeah.
This was the 60s.
Okay.
And they called her and said they didn't have room for me.
Oh, thank God, right?
Well, yeah. So that's probably a different story. But she wanted to get me into something, so she signed me up for Little League. 8-year-old, I had never picked up a glove, a bat, or a ball. And my grandfather and my uncles were big softball people.
Yeah.
And so she knew baseball and signed me up, and I joined the team. I was the lousiest kid on the team. But I had this thought that I'm new, I'm lousy, but I see these guys who are a year older than me and this is their second year and they're good. I go, so I guess I'll just be good next year. And I don't know what it was, but I was. And I just loved it. And I played till I was about 16, 17.
Okay.
And so I did a lot of baseball was it for me.
That was it.
As we were, as a young person.
Yeah.
But as I got out of that, you mentioned high school years, I played freshman ball. That was my last time of real organized baseball. I started getting into music, not playing music, but listening to music, rock and roll music, albums. There was a time where my cousin's really into it. I worked with him in the summertime one time in near Fresno. He had tons and tons of record albums. He's about 10 years older than me, so he had a collection beyond belief.
Yeah.
And so, he introduced me to the Beatles.
Yeah.
And I heard an album and I just loved it.
Yeah.
And so I just became a big Beatle fan, and then all kinds of other rock and roll music. And I was in high school, and then my best friend, that's what connected us.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were going to concerts all the time for about 2 to 3 years. It was a concert every month, basically.
Yeah.
We'd seen bands because we were only an hour and a half from San Francisco.
Right.
And all the bands, we're talking Journey, The Cars,
all
those bands came through. We went to see them all. But that was the love of my life. When I got saved, I was in the middle of that. When at 19, I had my own record collection at that time. Yeah. And so that was life. We would, on Fridays, Ruben, my best friend, who's also passed away.
Okay.
On Fridays was great because we would go to either San Jose, Santa Cruz, sometimes San Francisco, and go to the used record shops. Yeah. And we would find deals and find mint records that nobody wanted, but we wanted. Mm-hmm. And so that was just a thing we did almost every Friday.
How old are you, Raul?
I am 63.
63. So I'm 57. So I had an older sister, and so I like that. Actually, I love that music. I was probably in grade school. I was probably middle school. My sister was in high school. Mm-hmm. And so we were listening to 70s music, man.
Sure.
The Bee Gees and what about Journey? I can't remember all the groups, but I mean, I knew all the songs, but I couldn't tell you the singers necessarily, but really love that time, that era.
Right.
What would you say about that music today, being a believer for, a long time, for 40 plus years-ish? Where does that music fit in your life today? Rock and roll?
That's an interesting question, because when I got saved, about 3 months into that, in 1982, I had my record collection, I had my stereo there, and I was listening, and I remember trying to justify listening to it. Mm-hmm. And one day I was standing in my room, just looking, pondering, and God said, this is the first time I remember hearing God's voice. He said, Raul, it's either me or this. And at that time, if you remember, record breaking was a big thing. People would take their records and just smash them because rock and roll was of the devil. And I remember hearing about that and being angry about that before I got saved. And so it wasn't about rock and roll being of the devil. It was about rock and roll music being an idol in my life. And so God said this or that. So went to the youth pastor and said, hey, do we do record breakings? No, we haven't had one in a long time. Can we have one? Okay, we'll schedule it. We did. Took all my records one night to the youth group, and the youth pastor goes, this is funny. Youth pastor goes, wow, man, I didn't realize a lot of people were going to bring all these records. And my friend Frank, he goes, no, those are all Raul's records. And what? I think maybe one or two people brought one record to join in, but most of them were mine. And everything I had, we just smashed them up.
How'd that feel?
It felt good.
It felt good.
My friends didn't understand. They weren't saved. I had some classic stuff in there.
Yeah.
And but I had to get rid of it. I had to get rid of it. Now we jump to now. I'll listen to it. It's not about, there are some words in there that we shouldn't be listening to, philosophies in there. But the music takes me back. And the thing is that I can listen to it without guilt.
Yeah.
I don't idolize it. I don't have the collection. That's the place. It's got that place where it's supposed to be.
Yeah. Maybe a place where you came from. Mm-hmm. Maybe a reminder. Remember all when you... Yeah.
And it reminds me of my friends, my childhood. There were some good times. We had fun, camaraderie. But it's not levitated as an idol in my heart any longer. So today, some people are very adamant. We can't listen to it at all for various reasons. My reason for not, and I didn't listen to it for a very long time after I broke the records. I mean, I stayed away from it entirely. But as I was getting more mature, getting closer to Christ and knowing him and seeing how important he was and comparing that it wasn't the records themselves. It wasn't the people playing the music. Yeah. It was where I put it in my life, just like anything else.
Yeah. It's interesting. I came to know the Lord at 28. And so I had a whole, I had growing up, I had records and, 45s and albums or whatever. My sister did too. And then later on, we had CDs.
Yeah.
Right. And I had a collection of hundreds of CDs. And when I got saved at 28, I had this conviction, I got to get rid of all of them. And so I took them all up to the garbage can and I threw them all away.
There you go.
And yeah, it was interesting to go through that. And so I stopped doing a lot of those things. I almost became legalistic. I don't know if you ever became legalistic, but so I didn't listen to any of it for a long, long time and maybe became legalistic a little bit but now I can, kind of like you, I'll listen to it a little bit. I mostly listen to just Christian music because that's what I prefer.
Sure.
But I mean, I like some of those old songs, Foreigner and Journey and Bryan Adams or whoever, Tom Petty.
Right. Yeah. I don't think it was legalistic. I think at the very beginning, after I did that record breaking and knew I shouldn't listen to it, I just made it a point not to be intentional about it. Because my friends were still doing that. They were going to concerts all the time now. They didn't stop. I was trying to share the gospel with them. But, I remember seeing when a friend of mine at the university, I was going to go from that community college to San Jose State, and I had met him there at the community college. And so he invited me to check out the school. So we visited his dorm and he had a record. I think it was, I forgot the name of the gentleman, but it was a rock and roll singer. Yeah. He had an album on his bed and I saw it. He knew my story and he looked at me and he said, well, God allows us to be free to listen to things. I didn't judge him. I didn't bring it up. Yeah. I just said, I didn't even really know what he meant by that.
Yeah.
But what I did know is that I don't listen to that anymore. So I was just not doing it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until later in life where, again, I would listen to it and my best friend still loved it. He became a Christian later, but he really, and he was in the same boat as I was. He didn't break his records.
Hey, to each their own,
Right.
That's his choice.
Sure.
His choice. Hey, let's fast forward a little bit. I want to hear about, you've been married for a little over 40 years. Mm-hmm. How'd you meet your wife?
That's interesting. We'll go back to the story where I got saved now.
Okay.
She doesn't remember. She says it didn't happen this way, but believe me, it did happen this way.
Okay. From your perspective.
From my perspective, sure. Remember I told you I was up front and there was another gal. It wasn't her.
Yeah.
He says the prayer, then he turns, they say, okay, everybody meet the new brother and sister, Raul, and I forgot who the gal was. And Monica was going to that church.
Okay.
And she led worship. And her family.
Monica's your wife?
Yes.
Okay.
And she was, her family's going there. And she was sitting in the front row. And I remember because she was wearing this white dress. And when I turned around for, people were clapping, she got up, people got up, and she got up and was the first one to hug me. And so that's the first time I met her. And I ran into her a couple of times. And three or 4 months later, we started dating. But in that interim, she was engaged when I met her.
Okay, yeah.
That didn't work out. So we started dating, a few months later. Yeah. And then 3 years after that, 1985, we got married.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Been married ever since.
Married ever since.
What month was that?
September 8th.
So September 8th, you had your 40th, because it was 25
just
years. Just
recently.
So 40 years.
40 years.
September 8th, that's my wife's birthday, so I'll remember that. Well, that's really good. What would you say one of the greatest lessons you've ever learned about being married to your wife for 40 years? What's the one thing, if you can think of one, that stands out?
She's not afraid to confront people. She's brave. I really admire that. Man. She's not afraid. Like I mentioned earlier, she'll ask me a question. Mm-hmm.
Coming right in the front door, Raul. Hey.
And not even that, like that.
Yeah.
It's, during the conversation, she wants to know me. I grew up very, very closed.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about things. Her family too.
Yeah.
But she discovered way earlier than I did that things need to come out in the open.
Amen.
Things need to be said, let the goo come out and let's settle it.
Yeah.
And I was always coming from the perspective, we don't want to fight. I don't want to fight. I don't want to argue. All these ugly feelings because I saw my parents do that.
Yeah.
And so I didn't really argue with anybody as I was growing up.
Yeah.
You know, I was almost, okay, yes, or be quiet. Okay. But just no conflict.
Yeah.
She is very good at that. It's not that she comes and like a bulldozer or a steamroller, but she knows how to do it.
Yeah.
And it's just, how do we deal with the conflict or the question that needs to be dealt with at that time?
Yeah.
And so she's very good at that. And that's what I've learned over the years, you know, as far as observing her and how she does that. Because even in groups, she'll bring up topics and it'll start a great conversation. That's
interesting. Confrontation, you say conflict. Confrontation can be, I'm going to confront you, Raul. I'm going to let you have it. Or, hey, Raul, let me ask you a question. I'm confronting something, but I'm asking you a question in a loving way. I'm a confronter. And my wife would say one time, why do you always have to confront things? Like, for me, I realize I want the peace of God that surpasses all understanding. And for me to really confronting issues is drawing out what's inside either my wife or somebody, and really having conversation and bringing what was in the dark into the light and exposing it for what it is, whatever that may be.
Right.
And so I think learning to talk to one another, you know, we confess our sins to one another, not for forgiveness, but to help shoulder whatever's going on. But if I just try to shoulder my own problems, it never goes well. So I think your wife does that really well. Sounds
right.
Like.
Yeah, she does. Because like I said, I would just keep it to myself, have the conversations in my head with myself. And she really wants to get to know me. You know, she's on my team, and I've had a hard time not believing that, but grasping that and running with that and knowing that no matter what is said from her, she loves me. We are working together. We are one. She's on my team. She wants me to be better.
Yeah.
And she just wants to know. And so she goes forward with that.
Right. Well, I think from your perspective, you saw your mom and dad maybe fight and argue. And so every time conversation came up, it went to conflict. And really, it doesn't have to be that way, but that might have been your perspective. That's why you didn't speak up as much.
Right.
And she's like, no, we can talk about it. It's okay.
Yeah. And
you're
she's
like, oh, and you're 40 years into marriage and you're still working on that, right? It doesn't go away. We're human.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. She, her family was almost the same way. You know, we're both come from Hispanic backgrounds.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so the just the regular thing to do is just to sweep it under the rug, shut the door, go to your room.
Yeah.
Just don't hear.
Yeah.
You don't want to hear it. You know, that was what we did. And she did that a lot too, but she had more of a perspective because she knew that wasn't right. I thought it was normal living. You know, I thought it was normal living that way. And that was harder on me trying to understand how people interact, you know, civilly and lovingly. And she's learned that fast and way quicker than I did.
Our wives are much smarter than we are. I mean,
I believe that.
When you agree on that, I mean, it took me a long time to figure out my wife is way smarter than me. She's way more intuitive. She's like playing a game of chess. She's 12 steps ahead of me. I think I know what I'm doing, but she's already way ahead of me. So,
right. Yeah. I have found that Monica just wants to get closer to me and know me better.
Isn't that cool? After 40 some years, she still wants to get closer to you.
Yeah.
And get to know you.
Yeah. Just wants to know me.
You guys have kids. You have 4 of them?
Correct.
Boys, girls?
Melinda's my oldest. And then I have David, Timothy, and Matthew.
So 1 daughter and 3 boys.
That's correct.
Okay.
Melinda was born here in Oregon. We were in YWAM, Youth with a Mission.
Okay.
In 85, before the summer before I got married, I came up here to Salem, Oregon. That's why we moved up here later.
Oh, that's why you came up here. You were at the South Campus?
Yeah, here at the base on Battle Creek Road.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And I did my DTS, Discipleship Training School, while I was engaged to Monica.
Yeah. You do the DTS here?
I did the DTS here.
Okay.
So, so that's... buddy, I'm sorry. Where were we going with this?
I was just tell me about your kids. I really want to know.
Yeah.
We can talk about YWAM too. I'm interested after your DTS. Where did you go as well?
Right. What I meant to say is that after we got married, I came back to California in 85, got married. And a year later, Monica and I came up together. And just to say that Melinda was born here.
Got it.
She was born while we were in YWAM.
Okay.
And so after 3 years of being in YWAM, we went back to California.
Okay.
And then the 3 boys were born there.
Okay. Gotcha. So you did your DTS for 3 months here. Where was your outreach at?
Alaska.
Alaska, okay.
Actually, 2 places. Have you ever heard of Gleanings for the Hungry?
No.
It's a YWAM organization project.
Okay.
It's been going on. It was founded by a gentleman named Wally Wenji. He was one of the early people in YWAM.
Yeah.
And basically, it's in the Central Valley, near Fresno, where they grow a lot of the produce.
Yeah.
Specifically, peaches and nectarines. He had this vision of culling all the fruit they throw away.
Okay.
And so my outreach went over there for 2 weeks. And basically, what happens out there is that the farmers, there's a lot of fruit, and again, peaches and nectarines.
Yeah.
If they don't fit in those little green cups or they have a little crack, and every other aspect, it looks like good fruit, they throw it out.
Oh, wow.
And so I used to help drive the truck and go out there and pick up the bins and bins of fruit that they're just going to throw away. He got connected with all the farmers and got this operation, got the equipment where basically it's washed, sliced, dry, sulfured, dried. You ever seen a dried apricot?
Yeah.
Same thing.
Okay.
And package it, and he would send it off to countries who didn't get vitamin C, that type of fruit.
Yeah.
And so, and it's still going right now.
That's so cool.
So we did that for 2 weeks, and then we went to Alaska.
Okay. So you were, I forget, you were married by then?
No.
You still weren't married? Okay.
This was the summer of 85. I did all this.
Oh, that's right. September you got married, so yeah.
When I came back in September.
You got married. Okay.
We got married.
What's that mean to be a dad to 4 kids, and are you guys close?
Yeah, we're pretty close. Probably not as close as I would have wanted to be.
Okay.
In some aspects, but I know my kids, they love both of us.
Yeah.
They love us.
Are they local?
Melinda's here. She's living in town. David is in and out. He's a park ranger.
Okay.
So
nice.
he does a lot of work in Yellowstone and other parks. He's he might plant himself here. And then Timothy, they just moved to Hillsboro, so they're out there. And then Matthew, as we speak, he's traveling to South Carolina to live.
Okay.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
Yeah. He's in the military. He's in the
military.
guard.
Yeah.
He's in the guard. He's getting his transfer in, and he's right now traveling.
Oh, we can be praying for him.
Yeah.
Man, sounds awesome. What would be one thing you would want to change in your relationship with your kids that would elevate it?
That they know more deeply about my relationship with Jesus.
Okay.
I believe we have done that in our actions as to, not just going to church, but especially the way Monica and I conduct our marriage. And that has been an example. My son, Matthew, the youngest, has mentioned that because he was in the military. He goes, people would be shocked, and even the kids would say this when they were in middle school, that we were still together as a couple. All their friends' parents were divorced or, not married, whatnot. But I think I would change it where I would be able to express more often about who Jesus is and express to them that he is the only way. Because they all went to church, that little church in Hollister. And that, but they're not following Christ.
None of them.
Yeah, correct.
Well, we can pray for them there as well. That Jesus is the way. He said, I'm the way, the truth, and the life. No man comes to the Father except through me.
Yeah, Matthew is the closest. He's made a confession.
Okay.
And so he wanted to be a chaplain in the military. So he has made a confession, and he is closest to God than the other ones.
Yeah.
It's just life and the typical what's going on in the world. You can see it. It's more prominent than what's the spiritual things that should be happening.
It's pretty dark out there, honestly.
Yes.
So, Raul, let's talk about your career being a CPA for a long time. So you said 2002?
Right. That's when I got certified, and then became I had to go back to school in, I think I started in 93.
Okay.
When I was talking about those auditors. And,
right.
And we knew we were going to come back to Oregon.
Yeah,
so the goal was to get my accounting degree and then graduate and then get a job here, which that happened. I worked for a local CPA firm for about 2 years in 98. And then I moved over to the state audits division.
Mm-hmm.
And I worked there for about 12 years.
Okay, you worked for the state for 12 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a division. It's the audits division, and it's a division of the corporation, Oregon Corp division.
Okay.
So I did that for 12 years, and it was very enjoyable.
Yeah.
And then while I was there, I bought a tax practice. In 2008, did that simultaneously for 4 years. And then in 2012, I quit the state completely.
Wow, that's a big step.
And did what I'm doing now.
Okay, so 2012 to now is really full time doing what you've been doing.
Correct.
And I noticed that your business has changed a little bit, where you're, probably would take any client, and at some point in time, it's like, you know what, I like working with probably business owners. Would you say that's true?
That's true. Yes. 2008, there was about 100 clients, and just pure tax.
Yeah.
And it's just me. And then as I was growing, finally got an employee.
Yeah.
Got a couple employees, and my kids work for me for a little bit. Melinda does, my oldest daughter.
Okay,
she does
nice.
a little bit right now. Tim did for a long time. He's kind of phasing out right now. And we got some other employees. But down the line there, we discovered that we just couldn't do it all. And so what do we like to do? And with the encouragement of Monica, so, it seems like we're leaning towards the business world. So we did that. And so we cater to small businesses and their tax situations, and then do their personal as well.
Gotcha. But primarily, if I'm going to refer a client to you, they have to own a business. I mean, that just makes sense, because anybody can go get their W-2 tax return done. And that's fine. You'll do that, but really the goal is that you're a little bit the fun part about diving in with a business owner and helping them figure out how to win.
Right, because there's so many aspects to it. Like the individual part, even though the tax return is actually more complicated than the business tax returns. Okay. But being in business is more complicated than what a person like you mentioned. Yeah. We have W-2s, a family, a house. That's not too complicated, but a business owner, there's so many things going on. Yeah. And so there's more than just the tax return. Yeah. In that world. Yeah. So, we cut out a big portion of our individual segment of our business. Yeah. We just couldn't do that to open up more businesses, small businesses to come in and do that. So we do a lot of consultation, tax planning. Yeah. And just strategy planning for them and their business. And then it affects their personal, because we'll also take on their personal taxes because they have the business. Right.
How do you help a guy like me? I may not be your ideal client. For a long time we had 2106 expenses where you could write off. Then 2018, that all went away. So straight W-2. How do you help a guy like me figure out some of these benefits of tax planning maybe I'm not doing?
Yeah. Well, we sit down and listen, okay, so what do you have? Well, I have a business, and wherever they're at, whether they're running it just as a sole proprietor, or maybe they're in a partnership with somebody, or maybe they do have an S corporation or corporation. Yeah. It just depends on the structure of the business. Right. So, you mentioned, we run into a lot of sole proprietors. That's usually the case. Schedule C type. Yeah. And so the biggest question is, what do I write off? What's income? Yeah. And those are big questions that they always have. Yeah. But we go a little bit deeper and say, we're going to let you run as a Schedule C for a year or two, but we're going to take a second look and see if you should change this entity if you start growing. And then the questions then become different.
Okay.
And we're asking about, now we're talking about health benefits. We're talking about pulling money out of the company. That's another big question. How do I pay myself? Those type of questions. How much should I pay myself? Those are relevant questions.
Those are great questions. And on our own, we're not, whatever my craft is, I'm not, business owners sometimes aren't good with numbers and money.
Correct.
And right. So that's where you come in.
Sure.
And it'd be wise for every sole proprietor or business owner to come see you.
Yeah. The biggest thing is that it's not that people are ignorant or just, just don't know everything.
Yeah.
It's the fact that they don't have time to learn this stuff, or they don't want to, or they say, well, I'm not good with numbers.
Yeah.
Oh, that's okay. But you're good at what you do.
Yeah.
And you're making money.
Yeah.
One of the aspects of business is that you got to be compliant because Uncle Sam's going to come by.
Yeah.
And big thing, why do I have to pay so much taxes? Well, that's where we come in.
Yeah.
And so they're just unknowledgeable about all the ins and outs.
Yeah.
And we get a lot of I didn't know that.
Right.
Wow, this is supposed to be happening. Yeah.
And aren't you on the board for the state of Oregon for CPAs as well?
I am the vice chair of the board of accountancy for the state of Oregon.
That's a pretty big deal.
Yeah. I was invited to join about 6 years ago.
Okay.
Probably longer than that. It's just time flies. But
time does fly.
A person that I had worked with at the state audits division, she was the chair at the time, and we worked together. So an opening came, and she called me, and I interviewed, and I got on. It's I enjoy it a lot.
Yeah, you're also on another board. You're on the Valor board, right?
Yes, the Valor Mentoring.
You've been on that one for 6-7 years as well.
Yeah, just about with Tim Davis, Tim and Sven. Approached me. And, and I think a gentleman named Tom.
Yep, good old Tom Greenwood.
Yeah, and we had lunch, and I'm always looking to be on a board. I said to myself, I can't be on more than 3 boards.
Okay.
And I had been asked, several other boards and stuff. But at that time, there was an opening in my life.
Right. Are you on 3 boards then?
No, I'm only on 2.
Okay. It's funny, I was having coffee with Sven and Tim this morning. We always grab coffee the first Friday of each month. We do Bible study together, we do life together, but we also meet just us 3. Mm-hmm. And but I said, hey, what do you know about Raul? Both of them said, Raul is a deep, deep guy. Oftentimes you won't hear him speak at the board meetings, but when he does speak, people listen. And that was really, I like that. I think it's really respectful. So that was the word on the street this morning. So thought I'd pass that along to you. As we get ready to wrap up here, Raul, what would you say is your greatest struggle in this season of life? I mean, we all go through struggles, right? It could be finances, and we don't have to go deep in anything, but is there an area of your life that is this is interesting? Sometimes it's health, sometimes it's whatever. What would you say for you? Where do you struggle? I mean, I can look at you and go, nope, you go to the gym, you show up, you go to church, you love your wife, you're still married, everything's perfect in Raul's life. Is that true?
No, it's not.
Well, what?
No, it is not. I think I'm always working on my marriage, knowing that my marriage needs to be strong, that we're a team, and trying to be aware of that 24/7. Together with my wife, wondering what we're going to do in the future. We're looking at the business. I'm not going to be there forever. I can't do it forever, but there'll be a time where I'm not able or wanting to do that, but still have energy to do other things. And I think, okay, so what are we going to do? Yeah. It's not a worry where I'm really losing sleep over it, but it's a little concern.
Concern. Yeah.
Yeah. What am I going to do? So right now, and I think this is what God is kind of opening up is I've been getting this passion for the men of the church,
Interesting.
The grown men who are sitting in church and just basically just sitting in church, and God's showing me to get involved. So I go to Church on the Hill. We have a lot of small groups. So I volunteered to lead one. And so I'm trying to get guys to join and just share my experiences, because I am 100% sure they're in a place that I have been. And I think I have something to share and offer and testify about who Jesus is in those situations in their life.
Yeah.
Because people, and it's just not men, but people come to church, they'll just come once on Sunday, if that, and they leave it there. And so basically there's no relationship. And I want to see specifically men, develop that relationship with Jesus and let Jesus show them that, hey, there's more than a house. There's more than a job.
Yeah.
There's more to this thing that you're in this life than just what you see.
Yeah.
Because it's the unseen that we have to look at. It's the unseen we have to fix our eyes on. And a lot of guys don't look beyond that because I get it. They're busy. They got careers. Maybe their marriage isn't going well. Things are happening. Life happens. But, just in that saying, life happens. Well, who is life?
Yeah.
It's Jesus.
Yeah.
And so I think
Jesus is life.
so that's becoming a passion just in the recent year.
As I type this down, I just wrote down Jesus is life. This morning, Sven was making a comment, for a man, because we're speaking of men, I like to mentor men and be mentored by guys like you as well. If you read your Bible once a week or you go to church once a week, it makes no difference in your life. Mm-hmm. If you read it twice, no difference. 3 times, not much. 4 times, there's like this trajectory of upward, like an 80% difference in your life by reading the Bible 4 days a week. And so I don't know about you. I'm curious about you. How often do you read your Bible, and have you noticed that trajectory in your own life?
Oh yeah, big time. What I notice is the trajectory goes down when I skip 2 days.
Oh.
Because I have this routine, and you might call it a habit, but it's not just a routine.
Yeah.
It's a meeting with God every day, every morning. Now, sometimes I just read or I just pray, but most of the time it's a relationship. I will ask God something, or he'll say something. Yeah. I'm looking, I'm listening. Yeah. That's the whole thing. And when I skip that, if I have to skip a day for some reason, it really doesn't affect. But like you mentioned, 4 days in a row, I believe the reason for that is that the Spirit starts invading you. You're allowing the Spirit to come into you. And if somebody were to keep doing that, I'm 100% sure they're going to hear God's voice. And hopefully they will then know the next step would be, okay, what do I do? And that's a great question.
Yes.
But hearing his voice is key. And that'll happen.
Yeah.
Like you said, 4 days.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
It'll come alive. The word will come alive.
I've been trying to read the Bible every day, and I haven't been perfect at that by any means, but I certainly do try to show up. I certainly do try to read the word. But I'd say a year and a half ago, where not just reading the word sometime during the day, but really first thing. So my habit, is getting up in the morning. Like this morning, I try to get up at 5 or before, but this morning I woke up at 3:30. I just couldn't sleep, and I just begin my morning routine, which is pray, read the word. You know what? Putting God first in my life has made all the difference. I can tell you it's made 100, not just putting him in the cracks of my life or at the end of the day, but making him first has really made a difference for me. I know, kind of like you, if I miss a day, it may or may not be a great day. Yeah. I want to spend time with the Lord. So, hey, we're going to wrap up on this. Here's my question to you, Raul, is what is the best piece of advice you've ever received?
The best piece of advice that I have ever received, I think it was that God can speak to you. God wants to speak to you, and you need to learn and tune into his voice. And that I learned in Youth with a Mission, because I was just saved like 3 years when I went in. Yeah. So I hadn't really done that. And so when I went into that school, my uncle once asked me, Raul, after I got back from my school, he asked me, what's the one thing that you got out of all that?
The one thing.
And I told him, every single speaker that came through that school and taught us for a week, they looked like they had been with God. They sounded like they knew God, like a friend, like he was, like we're talking right now. Yeah. That's how they presented it. And that's how they looked. And that's how I perceived it, that those guys were walking with God. That's what I got out of that whole school. Yeah. And the key was they were listening for his voice.
Yeah.
And so hearing the voice of God, that's what I would say in my group. That's what I would say to anybody. A new believer, that might be strange to them, but the point is that if they develop the relationship, that's going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, that's well said. I really appreciate that, Raul. So we're going to wrap up here real quick, and I just want to thank everyone for listening this week and every week. Man, if you get any value out of this, will you share this with somebody, maybe even 10 people, people in our local community sharing their testimony of their faith in Christ. And not everybody's a believer, but our goal is that everyone would come to know Christ. Right now, my wife and I are reading through the book of Revelation. If you haven't done that, you should do that. And there's 7 blesseds in the book of Revelation, chapter 1 all the way through to chapter 22. My challenge for you this week is go find the 7 blesseds in the book of Revelation. Pay attention to that book. We're definitely in end times. Jesus is coming soon. Time is of the essence, and we want you to know Jesus as your Savior. That's why we're here. So thank you, Raul, for being here this week, sharing your heart. Just really appreciate you, man.
Sure thing. Thanks, buddy. Thanks for having me.
Yep. Thank you. We'll see you next week. Thank you.